Hey folks, Old Man Weather here. If you want to stay ahead of the storm and get the latest updates, make sure you follow Sky Alert USA. Go ahead and support us by subscribing, liking, and dropping a comment below. We sure appreciate it, and you'll never miss out on important weather news. Historic winter storm, emergency, catastrophic ice and snow assault America. January 24, 2026. Breaking weather alert. Widespread power outages expected across two-thirds of the United States. As we enter Saturday, January 24, 2026, the United States and parts of Canada are facing one of the most significant and, honestly, potentially catastrophic winter weather events in recent history. Over 205 million Americans across the country are under winter weather alerts for snow, ice, or extreme cold, according to the Washington Post and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, making this storm system one of the most widespread winter emergencies in at least 5 years. Current situation, Saturday, January 24, 2026. The massive winter storm system that began forming on Friday, January 23rd, is now in full force across multiple regions of the United States. This significant winter storm is progressing eastward from the southern Rockies and Central Plains through the Mid-South and into the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast, according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, creating a dangerous weather corridor that spans approximately 2,300 miles from coast to coast. The National Weather Service has issued an unprecedented number of warnings, including winter storm warnings, ice storm warnings, blizzard warnings, and extreme cold weather advisories affecting portions of 40 states. The storm's impact is being felt from Arizona and New Mexico in the southwest, through Texas and Oklahoma in the south, and extending all the way to New England and the Canadian border. The catastrophic ice threat. Perhaps the most dangerous aspect of this winter storm is the catastrophic ice accumulation forecast for the southern plains, mid-south, and portions of the southeast and mid-Atlantic regions. Catastrophic ice accumulations are expected from the southern plains to the southeast and mid-Atlantic, according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, with some areas potentially receiving between half an inch to 1 full inch of ice accretion. Freezing rain occurs when snowflakes melt as they fall and refreeze, creating a glaze of ice on the ground, trees, power lines, and other objects, according to NPR. This creates an extraordinarily dangerous situation that goes far beyond typical winter weather hazards. Ice storm warnings are currently in effect for major metropolitan areas including Memphis, Tennessee, Little Rock, Arkansas, Charlotte, North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina, Greenville, South Carolina, Richmond, Virginia, and portions of northern Texas, including the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. Ice accumulation totals of 0.50 inches or more are considered crippling, with devastating consequences including widespread power outages, downed trees, and extremely dangerous travel conditions, according to Fox Weather. Some of the hardest hit areas could see ice accumulation approaching or exceeding 3/4 of an inch, which would be truly catastrophic. The weight of ice on power lines and tree branches cannot be understated. As little as 1/4 inch of ice is enough to bring down power lines and cause outages in a winter storm, according to WRL.com. With forecast accumulations of half an inch or more in many locations, the potential for widespread and long-duration power outages is extremely high. Power outage emergency. Utility companies across the affected regions are preparing for what could be one of the most extensive power outage events in years. Forecasters warn that damage, especially in those ice-hit areas, could rival that of a hurricane, according to News Nation. That really gives you some perspective on just how severe this situation could become. Duke Energy, one of the largest utilities serving the Carolinas and Virginia, has already activated its storm response protocols and brought in crews from 6 states to help out with restoration efforts. However, officials are warning customers that restoration could take days or even longer in some spots, just because of the extensive damage expected from all that ice accumulation. Significant ice building up on power lines and tree limbs may cause widespread and long-lasting power outages, according to ABC 11. The combination of heavy ice and the bitterly cold temperatures that will follow the storm means that, even after the precipitation ends, dangerous conditions will stick around. Roads and sidewalks could stay icy well into next week, since temperatures are forecast to remain well below freezing. Historical context makes this threat even more concerning. A similar ice storm hit North Carolina back in December of 2002, and more than 1 million folks across the state lost power. It took 9 days before electrical services were fully restored, with damages totaling more than $110 million according to Fox Weather. Heavy snow corridor. While ice is dominating the southern portion of the storm track, heavy snow is the main concern further north. A broad swath of the country, all the way from Oklahoma through the Ohio Valley, the Mid-Atlantic, and up into the Northeast, is forecast to receive significant snowfall accumulations. Possible snowfall amounts upwards of 12 to 18 inches could be seen from the southern plains right up into the Northeast, according to CBS News, with some localized areas maybe getting even higher amounts. Major cities in the path of heavy snow include Media, time-lapse of snow falling on major U.S. city skyline, traffic barely moving in heavy snow in big city Oklahoma City, Oklahoma with 6 to 12 inches, Kansas City, Missouri with 8 to 14 inches, St. Louis, Missouri with 6 to 10 inches, Indianapolis, Indiana with 8 to 12 inches, Columbus, Ohio with 6 to 10 inches, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania with 8 to 14 inches, Washington, D.C. with 8 to 12 inches, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania with 6 to 10 inches, New York City, New York with 6 to 12 inches, and Boston, Massachusetts with 8 to 14 inches. The heaviest snow accumulations are expected in the central Appalachians and some parts of the interior Northeast, where the highest snowfall totals could reach up to 2 feet, according to CBS News, in those localized areas with orographic enhancement. The snow will be coming along with gusty winds in a lot of areas, leading to blowing and drifting snow, reduced visibility, and some pretty dangerous wind chills. Whiteout conditions are possible at times, making travel extremely hazardous or even impossible. Arctic blast and dangerous cold. Adding to the severity of this winter weather event is an Arctic air mass of historic proportions that's plunging southward from Canada. The polar vortex, which is usually parked up over the North Pole, is dipping down into the United States, bringing unusually cold temperatures starting Thursday and lasting through the first half of next week, according to CBS News. The extreme cold is already being felt across the northern plains and upper Midwest, with wind chills of more than 50 degrees below zero reported in parts of Minnesota and North Dakota, CBS News says. These are life-threatening conditions, where frostbite can happen in as little as 5 to 10 minutes of exposure. As this Arctic air keeps surging south and east, cities across the eastern two-thirds of the nation will experience their coldest temperatures of the season. Communities from Texas, Arkansas, and Oklahoma all the way to Washington, D.C. and New York City could see records set for the coldest high temperatures, according to CBS News. Current temperature forecasts for Saturday, January 24th, include Minneapolis, Minnesota with a high of -5 degrees Fahrenheit and wind chills between -35 and -45. Chicago, Illinois is looking at a high of 8 degrees, with wind chills from -15 to -25. Dallas, Texas could see a high of 28 degrees with freezing precipitation. Atlanta, Georgia with a high of 32 and ice. Washington, D.C. with a high of 24 and heavy snow. New York City with a high of 20 and snow. The dangerous cold is going to stick around well after the precipitation moves out. Highs are forecast to stay in the teens and 20s across much of the eastern United States through at least Tuesday, January 27th, with overnight lows dropping below zero in a lot of those northern spots. Our neighbors to the north are also dealing with some pretty severe winter weather conditions. Environment Canada has issued winter storm watches for Toronto and the surrounding areas, with somewhere between 20 and 30 centimeters of snow expected to fall on Sunday, according to CP24. The winter storm watch comes alongside some brutally cold weather, with wind chills expected to hit minus 30 degrees Celsius at points, again from CP24, all across southern Ontario. Toronto specifically is facing wind chills that are going to feel like minus 24 degrees Celsius on Friday and as low as minus 30 degrees on Saturday morning. Wind gusts of up to 50 kilometers per hour will result in blowing snow and decreased visibility, CP24 says, creating hazardous travel conditions throughout the Golden Horseshoe region. The Toronto Transit Commission has already activated its winter weather plan and is running anti-icing trains to keep transit services operational. Lake-enhanced snow is also a concern, especially around the Greater Toronto Area and regions downwind of the Great Lakes. That lake enhancement could increase snowfall accumulations around the GTA, with fluffy snow that piles up real quick, according to Narcity, and that could make it tough for plows to keep up with clearing operations. Much of Canada, from Alberta to the Maritime provinces, is experiencing extreme cold right now. The widespread Arctic outbreak is bringing dangerous wind chills and tough conditions across most of the populated areas of the country. So, let's talk about the 3-day forecast outlook. Sunday, January 25th, 2026. The winter storm will be at its peak intensity across the mid-Atlantic and Northeast on Sunday. Heavy snow will keep falling across a wide area from the Ohio Valley through Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, and into New England. Snow accumulation rates could reach 1 to 2 inches per hour at times during the height of the storm. Further south, the catastrophic ice event will still be ongoing across the Carolinas, Virginia, Tennessee, Arkansas, and parts of Texas and Oklahoma. Freezing rain will coat everything in a dangerous glaze of ice, and power outages will become widespread as trees and power lines just can't handle the weight. Temperatures are going to stay dangerously cold, with high temperatures not even making it above freezing across most of the eastern two-thirds of the nation. Wind chills will make it feel even colder, with values ranging from minus 20 to minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit across the upper Midwest and northern plains. Travel will be extremely dangerous or even impossible across much of the affected area. Major interstates including I-20, I-40, I-70, I-80, and I-95 will see hazardous conditions with lots of accidents and road closures expected. Moving on to Monday, January 26, 2026. The storm system will start to pull away from the coast on Monday, but its impacts will still be felt. Snow will taper off from west to east, with the last bands of heavy snow hitting coastal New England in the morning before ending by the afternoon. However, the dangerous cold will stick around across the eastern United States. High temperatures will struggle to reach the 20s in most areas, with single digits and teens common across the northern tier. Overnight lows, Monday night into Tuesday morning, could get close to or even break records in a lot of places. The most significant concern for Monday will be the ongoing power outage situation in those ice-affected regions. With temperatures staying well below freezing, restoration efforts will be complicated, and folks without power will be facing potentially life-threatening conditions. Warming centers and emergency shelters are being opened across affected states. Roads will stay treacherous since the ice and snow from the weekend just won't melt due to the persistent cold. Black ice will be a major concern, especially on bridges, overpasses, and shaded areas. Then, on Tuesday, January 27th, 2026. By Tuesday, the storm system will have moved well offshore into the Atlantic, but the Arctic air mass will keep its grip on the eastern United States. High temperatures will remain 15 to 25 degrees below normal for late January across most areas. Gradual improvement in travel conditions will begin as road crews work around the clock to clear highways and treat those icy surfaces. Still, secondary roads and side streets might stay hazardous for several more days. Power restoration efforts will continue, but utility companies are warning that full restoration could take a week or more in the hardest hit areas, where there's been a lot of tree damage and issues with the infrastructure. The severity and scope of this winter weather event has prompted governors across the affected region to declare states of emergency, allowing for the mobilization of National Guard troops, emergency supplies, and expedited response procedures. States that have declared emergencies include Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, Georgia, and Kentucky. These declarations allow states to access federal assistance if needed and remove regulatory barriers that might slow emergency response efforts. Travel disruptions. The aviation industry is experiencing massive disruptions due to this winter storm. By Thursday evening, hundreds of flights had already been canceled in anticipation of the storm, with cancellations concentrated at major hubs including Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport, Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, Charlotte-Douglas International Airport, Washington Dulles International Airport, Reagan National Airport, Philadelphia International Airport, Newark Liberty International Airport, LaGuardia Airport, John F. Kennedy International Airport, and Logan International Airport. Airlines are waiving change fees and allowing passengers to rebook travel as the storm situation evolves. Some airports in the South, well, they just plain lack the de-icing equipment necessary for safe aircraft operations in icy conditions, which could lead to extended closures and cascading delays across the national air transportation system. Road travel is strongly discouraged across the entire affected region. Interstate highways are experiencing multi-vehicle accidents, and many state departments of transportation are implementing travel bans or restrictions. Some states have even deployed National Guard troops to assist stranded motorists. Safety recommendations. Given the extreme nature of this winter weather event, officials at all levels of government are urging residents to take this storm seriously and prepare accordingly. So, before the storm, stock up on non-perishable food and water, at least 3 to 7 days worth. Make sure you have adequate heating fuel. Charge all your electronic devices and have backup power banks ready. Fill bathtubs with water in case pipes freeze or power is lost. Bring pets indoors. Protect outdoor faucets and exposed pipes. Have a battery-powered or hand-crank radio available. Stock up on prescription medications. Withdraw cash, since ATMs may not work during power outages. Fill up your vehicle's gas tank. During the storm, stay indoors if at all possible, and avoid all non-essential travel. If you must go outside, dress in layers and cover all exposed skin. Never use generators, grills, or other combustion devices indoors. Keep refrigerator and freezer doors closed to preserve food. Use flashlights instead of candles when possible to reduce fire risk. Monitor weather updates regularly and check on elderly neighbors and family members. After the storm, avoid downed power lines and assume they are energized. Report outages to your utility company. Clear only a small area around natural gas meters, not the entire meter. Remove snow from the roof if accumulation is excessive. Watch for signs of frostbite and hypothermia, and conserve fuel for heating if the power is out. Long-term outlook. Beyond the 3-day forecast period, the extended outlook remains quite cold for the eastern United States. The Arctic air mass is expected to remain entrenched through at least the end of January, with temperatures running 10 to 20 degrees below normal. Additional weather systems may move through the pattern during the final days of January, but confidence in specific details remains low at this range. What is clear is that the bitter cold will be persistent, and any additional precipitation that falls will likely be in the form of snow across most of the northern tier. The first signs of moderation in temperatures may not arrive until early February, when the polar vortex is forecast to retreat northward and allow milder Pacific air to make inroads into the western and central United States. Conclusion. This historic winter storm represents a serious threat to life and property across a vast portion of North America. The combination of catastrophic ice accumulations, heavy snowfall, and extreme cold creates a particularly dangerous situation that will have impacts lasting well beyond the storm's departure. The National Weather Service, emergency management agencies, and utility companies are all mobilizing resources to respond to this event. But residents must take personal responsibility for their safety and preparedness. This is not a storm to take lightly or to underestimate. The Sky Alert USA team will continue monitoring this situation around the clock and providing updates as conditions evolve. Stay informed, stay prepared, and above all, stay safe during this dangerous winter weather emergency. Remember, when in doubt, stay home. No destination is worth risking your life in these conditions. This is a time to shelter in place, check on vulnerable neighbors, and wait for conditions to improve. Our thoughts are with all those in the path of this historic winter storm. We will get through this together by looking out for one another and following the guidance of